Today, I want to tell you about 4 things you can and will lose in professional wrestling and the one thing you cannot afford to. I'm Mike Quackenbush. This is Till We Make It, and I make videos for professional wrestlers no matter where they are at in their journeys. Whether they're just starting out, converting from being a fan to being behind the curtain, working in the industry, all the way through the veteran guard, those who have made a living and a lifetime in professional wrestling for themselves. Today on the program, I want to talk about something I learned only through experience. It's about 4 things that you can and you will lose over the course of a wrestling career. And it's important to understand this about all 4 of them. You can always get them back. The first of these is probably the most obvious. You can and you will lose money in professional wrestling. Can you make money? Will you gain some of it back, etc., etc.? Yeah, of course. But you've got to be okay with the fact that there will be instances where you will lose money in professional wrestling. You can and you will. There's no getting around it. And following on the heels of that, something else that you can and will lose in professional wrestling is your forward momentum. This most commonly happens when you are injured. You're starting to get some momentum going in your career and an injury will happen. It will. You will never make it through an entire professional wrestling career without some kind of injury. What we do is exceptionally demanding and dangerous. So you've got to be okay with the fact that you can and will lose momentum by getting injured. And there's other ways that you can lose momentum as well, but injury just happens to be the one that springs to mind. And no, you can recover from that too. Something that you can and will lose are your physical attributes. You could tie that back to what we were just talking about with an injury. If you're out for 6 months on an injury, are you going to lose some of your physical attributes? You'll probably lose some muscle mass, right? You'll be limited in some way, shape, or form in terms of your physicality while you're out rehabilitating that injury. So you will lose some of your physical attributes. Can you get them back? Yeah, but you've got to be okay with the fact that that is the ebb and flow of a professional wrestling career. You can and you will lose some of your physical attributes. And there is one other thing you can and will lose during the course of your wrestling career, and that is critical acclaim. You will go through periods of your career where everything you do just seems to be so well received and applauded by every single audience. But you can and will lose that type of acclaim. And you know what? You can also get it back, but you've got to be okay with the fact that that happens to everybody. You'll go through periods where what you make and what you produce, it just always ends up being well received. And then there are other times where you think you are doing work of equal or greater quality, and for some reason, it just isn't. And that too is part of the ebb and flow of a career. There are going to be times where you can and you will lose your critical acclaim. So if you are just starting out right now and you've never considered those things before, it's good that I'm downloading this information right into your brain. Those are things you can and will lose, and you've got to be able to live with it. Just know that in time and with enough hard work, any of those things can be regained. But there's also an outlier in this conversation. There is something that you can lose, and you will, and you'll never get it back. And that's time. Although this is relevant to each and every one of you, it is especially relevant to me right now. As we happen to be filming this for you, it is a Tuesday. And in the 4 days that led up to us being here taping this particular Till We Make It, I had more than 20 people reach out to me and ask, would you watch this match of mine and send me your feedback on it? And I don't mean to ruffle any feathers. I'm sorry if this next part does. I just stopped counting after 20 people because logistically, it's impossible. Just to give you some insight. At Chikara, our main roster has more than 40 performers on it. In addition to which, I have 40 other trainees incubating at my Wrestle Factory, getting ready to take the stage. And beyond that, every time I go out and teach a seminar somewhere, or I'm guesting at another school and doing a class there, I'm meeting and networking with more and more professional wrestlers. So I have tons and tons of connections. I have my in-house obligations, and then there's my greater network as well. And logistically, when I sit down to watch a match, let's say the match is 15 minutes long, I am likely to watch that match 3 times. And I know I allude to this exact strategy in a video we made quite a little while ago. I watch matches 3 times. Once to watch the physical mechanics, a second time to look at the structure of the match, and a third time to evaluate all the performative elements. So if that match is just 15 minutes long, that's 45 minutes I'm spending watching before I even start typing up all my thoughts and my notes and my feedback. And realistically, end to end, it's a 2-hour project for me to offer feedback on one match. So logistically, the idea that I'm going to do that 20 or more times in a period of 4 days, it's a logistic impossibility. Now, before somebody jumps on my case and says, "Oh, Mike, you ingrate, you should have felt flattered that people were asking you for their feedback and blah, 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 blah," I'm not saying that I don't find it flattering. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is it is a logistical impossibility, and time is something that you can lose, you will lose, and you can never get it back. So the way in which I am choosing to make myself available to everyone is through things like this channel. I am making my knowledge available to people through this channel till we make it. You can subscribe to the channel. Every time we make a new video, it will go right into your feed. You can watch it immediately. You can be the first to have that information in your brain. I also make my knowledge and experience available through the podcast Kayfabe 2.0, which still lives out in the ether. I spent an enormous amount of time filling that up with really valuable information. And I guess until Soundcloud goes kaput or whatever, it will still live out there in the ether waiting for you to discover. I also poured a lot of my experience, especially as a teacher, into 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer, a book that's available over on Amazon, over on Audible. You've probably heard me mention it on this channel before. There are a lot of ways in which I try to make myself available, but they are through those means. And just a little context, in the previous calendar year, I taught more than 1,000 professional wrestlers all around the globe. Even if I wanted to sit and watch one match by each of them and do what I do to create really detailed notes and feedback for them, I'd probably still be working on that project now. Another Till We Make It would never come out. The best way I think that I can serve the wrestling community as a whole with my knowledge and body of experience is through things like Till We Make It. And I am ever the more cognizant of the fact that time is the thing that's getting away from me. And on that note, I appreciate the fact that your time is valuable too. That's why whenever possible here on the channel, I try to get to the topics that you ask for down below in the comment section. So don't be afraid to leave some of your suggestions for what could be covered here on Till We Make It down below. We go plumbing that comment section all the time, looking for ideas for future videos. I hope that this insight and perspective was helpful to you. And if so, make sure that you subscribe and like and all that jazz. But also, please share this channel with fellow professionals no matter where they are at in their journey. I try to make it the kind of information everybody finds useful. And because it cannot possibly be said enough, I want you to know exactly how I feel about you. You are awesome. Because to me, people that are always looking to know more today than they knew yesterday, who bring that kind of attitude toward learning and that approach to professional wrestling, those people are awesome. And the fact that you're here watching this now lets me know you are one of those people. It is not some empty claim or generic comment. I know you are awesome. And thank you for spending your time here with me until we make it.